I don't know who I am, but he's Greg Brown.
And I'm Steve Blass. Greg,
So you're sure?
I'm not positive.
All right. You're watching Bucco Banter, whether you want to or not. And pay attention. There's going to be a quiz.
And raise the Jolly Roger.
Yeah, and beat 'em Bucks. And the Bucks are going all the way.
Live from Studio 3, and then heavily edited for content, it's Bucco Banter. Introducing your hosts. Originally from somewhere near Newcastle and now being a good husband and father when he's not running off by himself to PNC Park, it's Fred Rossano. A Pittsburgh Pirates fan since before he was born and still residing in his parents' basement when he's not sleeping in the Pirates clubhouse, it's Matthew Peaslee. Finally, he may look like a piece of plastic on a stick, but he has a life of his own and he's the real expert on Bucco Banter. It's Pirate Panda!
Hello and welcome again to Bucco Banter. My name is Fred Rossano along with
Matthew Peaslee.
And this is another in our series that we had filmed a few weeks ago with Greg Brown and Steve Blass, and they were in town to help promote the Franciscan University Baron Club dinner, of which Greg and Steve are going to be a part of on January 8th. And tell us a little bit more about that, Matt.
Yep, it's going to be a fun evening with the Pirates here at Franciscan University in Steubenville. Greg Brown, Steve Blass, along with some other members of the broadcasting team, John Wayner and Bob Walk, and even Neil Walker.
Neil Walker.
Recently traded Neil Walker, but a longtime Pirate and Pittsburgh native will be a part of that evening also. They're also going to honor some local heroes, and the cost for this Baron Club dinner is $65 for a single dinner ticket, or $100, which includes your meal ticket as well as membership into the Baron Club. And all proceeds from this event benefit Franciscan's NCAA Division III athletic teams. So it'll be a fun night for a good cause.
And Neil Walker will be there. There was some thought that he may not be there because he was traded to the Mets, but he will be there. Along with a lot of the announcers there, and sounds like a great time.
Sure. And that's, speaking of Neil Walker, just a lot of changes with the Pirates from the last time we met. When Greg and Steve were here a few weeks ago, we were talking and just praising Neil Walker for being a longtime Pirate and always done for the team. But now he's a New York Met. Gone is Neil Walker, and in is Jonathan Neese. So what are your thoughts on that trade and what Neese can bring for us?
Yeah, it's hard to separate Neil Walker from the Pirates, and being he's from Pittsburgh and everything. And I think Greg and Steve touched upon that a little bit as far as baseball's a business, and you got to do what you got to do. And I think that's what happened with Neil. They parted ways, and you sort of saw it coming a couple years ago when they didn't really offer him a contract, an extension rather, and you sort of felt that if they didn't do it at that point, that it wasn't going to happen. And I know there were concerns about his back and those types of things, and him being able to be out there for a full, at least 150 games, 155 games. And that was a concern on their part, and you never know from one side to the other of what transpired there. There were concerns on his part. Maybe Neil Walker had some concerns on his part. Maybe he thought that deep down maybe it was better for him to move on. Who knows? Maybe they'll re-sign him after this coming year.
It's just a 1 year. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and if it's a better price for both parties, maybe he does come back to the Pirates. But if he had a great career in Pittsburgh. He had 2 years ago was really his strongest time at the plate, and for as good of plays he's made in the field, he was limited a little bit defensively.
Well, he got moved though. Don't forget he came up as a catcher. They made him a third baseman. They made him a second baseman, and there was even talk of making him a first baseman, although he claims that he was never even asked to do that. But
this paves the way for really Josh Harrison to play second base or be in a starting role whenever Jung Ho Gong comes back from his injury. But I like Harrison to see what he can do as a full-time starter, and he's been a starter for the past 2 years. The Pirates also shored up another infield hole with John Jaso, who has played in the American League for most of his career with the Mariners and Oakland Athletics. He's about 32 years old, and he's going to play first base in place of Pedro Alvarez.
Of which he hasn't played much first base. I think it's he played 5 innings, but can't be worse than fielding-wise than Pedro there, to be honest. But you look at it from the standpoint of some of the other players they had picked up, in addition to John Neese, which I think will be a solid pitcher. He was sort of lost in the shuffle there at New York because of all the
young
star
guys.
pitchers that had come up over the past couple of years, and Ryan Vogelsong, and a guy with Juan Casio.
From the Dodgers.
A lot of question marks all around because, I mean, Vogelsong's not a young guy either.
38, I think.
And it's probably it'll probably be his last year. And I think the hope there is, again, bridging the gap until Tyon and
Kingham, Glasnow.
in Glasnow. I think Kingham is still going to be out for a while, but Glasnow probably sometime in June. And if you look at what some of the other teams are doing, and you just look at it from the standpoint, man, this is a lot of money just being thrown out there. And I think that was their philosophy all along of trying to get by, at least with the pitching. Now the Alan Hansen is a potential second baseman in the future for them. And there's a lot of different ways you can look at it, but still a lot of free agents out there too.
Yeah, we're still 2 months away from spring training.
You think they're going to sign anybody else?
I don't know. Just a couple days ago, we saw that Scott Kazmir goes to the Dodgers for $16 million a year, and if Scott Kazmir is worth $16 million a year, I don't want to spend that kind of money on a pitcher like that who's got his best years behind him. I'm sure they're always going to be looking. They might add another starter. It's not going to be a blockbuster deal, but that's fine. Just piecing together the bullpen too. They've got that guy named Kyle Lobstein, who was with the Tigers, and a couple other pitchers that have had major league experience. Neil Huntington's good at putting together a solid bullpen, and we hope some of that luck pays off with the starting rotation, which John Neese, I think, will be a solid number 3 starter behind Cole and Liriano. They rave about his ground ball potential. He's almost like Charlie Morton, who will be a starting pitcher too. And with the way the Pirates' defense has played over the past few years, I'd like to see a ground ball pitcher with the defense
I think
behind
he'll be
him.
fine. It's just the fact that it seems like they lost a lot, and they haven't replaced those guys so much.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens over the next couple months or so before spring training starts, and which isn't that far off. I think it's about 6 weeks away.
That's good.
Yep.
Got some more good stuff from Greg Brown and Steve Blass, so we're going to throw you to their interview real quick. They're going to talk a little bit about their life as broadcasters and tell you a little bit more.
We see you guys as experts. Now, do you guys have any kind of get information about the inner workings of what's
Insider
going on?
stuff.
Yeah, insider stuff, or you basically, for the most part, just like the rest of us fans, and you hear rumors about this and that going on? Or
We are really fortunate in that we have, he and I have such great respect for all these people that run the organization, but Neil Huntington, having gone through a lot of general managers over the years in all kinds of sports, he is the best, not only for what he's put together on the field, but he is open to, he's always encouraging us to meet with him because he wants to get that information out. Now, what we do then is filter it. Now, there's some stuff, and not all the time, heck, a lot of times.
Hey, you can't use this, and we'll
Yeah.
respect that. Or
Right.
you can't use this till a certain time.
Yeah.
And that's trust.
Yeah.
And he trusts us, and we appreciate
Yeah.
when he
He's the
wants to
best.
keep us up to date
Yeah.
and tendencies and what may or may not is being considered, that kind of stuff.
And it's not every single day.
No.
And we do the radio show with Neil during the summer once a week. We get a lot of good info and insight off the air. Steve and I will talk to him. Steve and I do radio on Sundays, so Neil's in the booth doing his general manager show, and then afterward we'll do a little Q&A off the air, get some feedback. But so many things happen during the course of a 162-game season that you can't possibly stay up on every single thing. We're in the clubhouse a lot, so we hear things. But with social media now, heck, a lot of stuff I learn comes from Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's so much respect too. I know Greg has the Sunday show, and do you really have a desire to blindside a guy?
Right.
Yeah. And so we know we can ask him certain questions after he gets off the air. He's got 5 minutes before he goes out and talks to the media. So it's a wonderful trusting relationship.
Yeah.
It's a trusting relationship.
Sure. This off season, you guys get a lot of golf in, or what's
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I don't get any better, but I play a lot.
And the great thing about Steve, he is so unselfish and so caring to his broadcast colleagues.
It's sick.
Is
sick
that
stuff.
January the 2nd, when we are up here enjoying the winter, and we really do enjoy it, the cold. Nothing more enjoyable than the cold and the snow. Steve says, for you guys, I'm heading down to my winter home in Bradenton, Florida.
I'll be embedded in case a story breaks.
I go down there, he says, January 2nd until the end of March, he's there for us, not for him.
You are a liar. You
No,
are a
that's
liar.
true. Am I right?
No.
Do you not go down there January 2nd?
December 28th.
Happy New Year.
But again, the unselfish aspect. And this is something that a lot of people don't realize from this guy.
You know what? We cannot sit down and talk with you guys without talking about 2 baseball games this past summer. The 2 Cardinal games before the All-Star break.
Oh,
Was there
my.
any more fun than that? I mean, you talk about a jewel on top of a 98-win season. Those 2 games, when Andrew hit the home run in the 14th inning, I mean, it's storybook stuff. Yeah. And then the next night, another fabulous win, but in a different process, single after single. It can't keep going on. It kept going on until we won the game.
We're being showcased. That was the national
TV
TV Sunday
too.
night game.
Unbelievable.
He jumped up on the
timing.
on the counter and was going to jump out into the booth, so I had to grab him.
I've never
He lost control.
I'm not a religious person, but I couldn't stop saying, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!"
And against the Cardinals too.
Yeah, on
Gosh.
top of
Yeah, this is something you can't write a script for that. So, and again, those magical moments that you have, and even during the 20 years, there were those times I could talk about an Alvarez home run or Brian Giles doing something special. What that grand slam against? I mean, just
so many
crazy
moments
stuff.
happened in the course of the season, and things happen. And we talked earlier about a Pedro Alvarez home run where he and I lost it like little kids. Well, that was that Saturday night and Sunday night, those games against the Cardinals, broadcasting is so different than anything else because once you say it, it's gone. You can't edit it. It's live. And I would hear the replay throughout the rest of the summer of the call, and I kick myself because I still haven't learned after 23 years in the booth that you have to pace yourself. But my voice was going. It was just about gone. And I said one of the greatest games in the history, and I was ready to say in my mind of PNC Park. But I was so gone. This is the last thing I had to say. I just said in the history of Pittsburgh. And well, for me, it was one of the greatest games in the history of Pittsburgh. But I wanted to say PNC Park, but I was too worried about him jumping out of the booth.
Well, the thing is, and he has taught me over the years, just let the moment be every once in a while. Just let it be.
I'm one
And
to
I
talk.
get home
Yeah,
myself.
So
It's the fans.
It's so
in us.
fun.
Yeah, we're so happy to be Pirates fans, and a
it's
lot of
great.
it is because of you guys.
Thanks.
Listening in on the radio, TV every night, you guys really make our fan experience
Thanks.
a lot better.
I know one of the other was it was a Pedro Florimon when he got
the
that
triple.
Hit. Yeah,
It was
and,
the triple.
and I think I turned off the TV to go to bed like 1 second before he hit, because I remember when I had taped it or whatever, and I watched it over, and it was like 1 second I shut it off and talking about exciting games of how to end games like that.
Improbable. So many of the wins this year were so improbable, and that's one of them. Pedro Florimon, who was a 150 lifetime hitter, and he hits the triple.
Yeah, or you watch Sean Rodriguez play left field and tumble over, somersault, making an unbelievable catch for a guy that's usually used to play in the infield. I mean,
Jeff Decker's ERA of 0.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So good stuff.
Great.
How do you differentiate between, like you said, about the playoffs itself, and coming up empty, getting shut out 2 years in a row? There, how do you separate that from, like you said, you look at it as a you look at it as a failure, even though they won 98 games.
Well, you got to understand the big picture because you consider the fans. The fans want to win everything. We're in a society now where if you don't win everything every year, every day, you fail. So you got to take that as an organization, a perspective. Yeah, we acknowledge that, but we know where we are as an organization. And if you're winning 98 games during the season, you're doing something right. You're finding ways not only to start the season with what you think is a group that can win, but you mix and match during the course of the year because of the length of that season. You're doing a lot of things right to win 98 games. And if you say you failed as an organization when you got in postseason play, then you don't get it.
And I don't mean this to disrespect any fan, but I really do believe a lot of the criticism comes from so-called like bandwagon jumpers. I think these people disregarded the Pirates for years and jumped on board when they started to win, and that's part of sports. And so they are demanding World Series every single year. But the people that, like us, who've been there for 20 consecutive years of losing, we need to really try to put this whole thing in perspective. 20 years, again, no North American sports franchise has ever gone through that. And now you could make an argument it's close to 4 or 5 summers that they've been in a pennant race. They've gone to the playoffs 3 straight years, but even before that, they were heavily involved late into the summer. So, I mean, I'll take this any day of the week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, part of the noise about, you failed because you didn't win the World, it's a minority of people. Because you look at 2.5 million coming out of the
and it's a
ballpark.
jealousy, too. I believe it's a jealousy, too. There's some fans out there that just are out there that they're so jealous that the Pirates are now front and center, and so many people care. And 2.5 million people coming out, that doesn't get enough attention.
They said we'd never draw 2 million in the city. I just read an article about when I was playing back in the 60s, to take you way back, when we were hoping to draw 700,000 out of Forbes Field.
There was a time when they threw a front office party back in the mid-'80s when the team topped 1 million. It was a reason to celebrate. And now you're 2.5 million, and if it continues, they're going to push 3 million. It's remarkable. The television ratings, third highest in all of baseball for this market. I mean, so I think there is a lot of jealous people out there.
People said when we built this ballpark, if we ever got a team to match the beauty of the ballpark, it would be a carnival every night, and it is a carnival every night.
We have a great time every time we go to the ballpark.
Well,
the past,
it's
it's
great.
amazing. Yeah. And if you want to hear even more stories, more great details of the Pirates, come out to the Barron Club dinner in January. Get a load of these guys. They're going to bring some of their other Pirate friends, too, and it's going to be a blast.
As you said, January 8th, 7 o'clock, and I guess the number was on the screen, 740-283-6406.
The Finnegan Fieldhouse.
Yep. Be there.
See you there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Fred, I hear the Pirates are looking for a play-by-play broadcaster, and I think you should apply.
I have some experience in that area. I've called some games way back when, some all-star games back Newcastle Union High School, or not high school, but the Little League, and some civics games here in Martins Ferry.
I think you should give us one of your home run
No,
calls.
you know what? We'll save it for the auditions. We'll save it for the auditions in case, I got to make sure my throat's okay for it.
Now that's a good call.